So hobbies, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt you might say, but I thought we might just revisit it. I thought it might be worth it because it's a while ago since we did a video about hobbies, and I think hobbies are important. I think they really are important. I think they're dismissed and forgotten about, and nobody even thinks about them because they don't seem to be such a thing in the 21st century as they did a while ago when we didn't have as much choice on social media, on the telly. But they were important, and do you know, there were a hell of a lot of famous people had hobbies. Mr. Hitler was an artist, Grover Cleveland was a naked fisherman, Tsar Peter the Great was obsessed with doing his own dentistry, Marie Antoinette wanted to play the peasant and dress up particularly as a shepherdess, and Queen Victoria loved rat catching. If rat catching was good enough for Vicky, then why aren't we embracing hobbies as much as the royalty? Hobbies Part 1, the video. So why are hobbies so important to people of all generations? Why, since childhood, do so many people take up little dexterous crafts, little artisan crafts? Why do they bring such joy and peace and getting away from the madness of the real world? What is it about hobbies? And I think it's simple. I've just stated it. That's what they do. They pull us in. They take us away from the drudgery of life, from everyday life, sitting alone in your own world, doing a simple little task that brings you joy. It may be repetitive, and that's the whole point, but it brings you joy. It takes you out of the world. You can completely absorb yourself in a hobby. Hobbies are bloody marvellous. Name me a hobby that's boring. It may be boring to you, but it's to the individual, it's fascinating. Jigsaws, painting, knitting, needlework, crochet, motorbikes, cars, walking, cycling, flying, breathing. They're all very, very special to different people. And they kind of sound a little bit hippie. I think people who don't do hobbies, I think a lot of people who don't just see them as something that geeky people do, that boring people do. But on the contrary, hobbies make you more interesting. I think they keep your mind sharp. They give you time to sit and contemplate and drift off into another place, doing a task that has become familiar but brings you pleasure, and it's safe. You feel safe in your hobby. You feel safe in the repetition of doing something that you know about, that is creative, that is tangible. You're going to be able to put your fingers on something at the end of the day, and that kind of it's like a weapon against the world. You can retreat into a hobby where others may run round in circles, shouting with frustration at the world in general, with nowhere to point and nothing to do. And this is why people justify violence and anger and bile, because they've nowhere to retreat. And hobbies are an ideal place to retreat from the world whenever you want, because there's no you must do it now. You can leave a hobby. I've done loads of hobbies and I've left them to 12 months and then I've gone mad at it for 6 months. It doesn't matter. It's somewhere to retreat, it's somewhere to go, it's somewhere to keep your sanity, it's somewhere to feel peace in a mad, mad world. Hobbies are fabulous. Have I said it already? Hobbies are bloody marvellous. So that's it. I just wanted to lay out the floor plan for part 2, where we will go into depth about hobbies. I don't want them to be long videos, that's why I split it into two. I like to keep them between 10 and 15 minutes if I can, but something I can talk about all day. So we're going to concentrate part 2 on hobbies. Perhaps it might give you some ideas. Perhaps it might fire your imagination, give you a little spark to think, I'll do that, especially as we're coming into the darker months and the longer nights, when your only escape is to sit in front of the television and stare at an oblong screen, watching something that you're not particularly interested in because somebody else has decided that you might be interested in it, where you could be picking up something, even just doing a jigsaw, reading, painting. You don't know what you can do till you've tried doing it, do you? You might be one of the greatest painters, one of the greatest artists known to civilization, but you don't know because you've never picked up a paintbrush. I know people who've started painting in retirement. I remember when I was a kid and my dad's had friends, and when they retired, that was the first time, and they went to a local class. I remember one bloke in particular, and he was amazing. And he lived to a good ripe old age, so he had a good few years, a good 2 or 3 decades of honing this craft that he was absolutely fabulous at, and I'm sure he was kicking himself because he didn't take it up earlier in life. Like I say, I've already uploaded a video about hobbies that was very well received actually, but it was a while ago, a few months ago, and a lot of people won't see it, and I thought I'd just revisit it because a lot of the time we just talk about nature and the world around us and bits of problems we might have and how we can live a slower, more peaceful, gentler, less stressful life. But I think hobbies deserves to be revisited and revisited and revisited over and over so that it doesn't go away. It's always there. Anyway, it's a lovely afternoon here. Another one. We're quite lucky with the weather of late up in the northwest of England. It's quite cool, and I've just shaved my head, which I do about once every couple of weeks. So my baldy head is well ventilated, and I didn't bring a hat. Very remiss of me. I can see for miles. I can see a gas rig. Look at it, I can see a gas rig off the Fylde coast between Liverpool and Southport. I keep meaning to bring my binocs and I can have a look at it because I used to work on rigs offshore. And that's it. So we will see you on the flip. Peace and love.